Hey, RetconRaider here. Today's video is dedicated to Sir Skelebit, who you may know better as our vampiric leper, Alistair Gardwin. Thanks for your continued support, Skelebit. That said, let's get started. Thanks to our efforts to secure the hamlet, more and more settlers were arriving by the day, but few remained in the hamlet itself. Instead, they all rushed off to claim jobs as farmhands or overseers, eager to start a new life in our cursed little corner of the world. One recent arrival, an imposingly tall and severe man, quickly took charge of the rest. The caretaker cheerfully informed me that this was the old miller, a man who had once worked for my uncle, before things had gotten so bad that he had been forced to flee. Now, however, he had come back to the hamlet to reclaim his old mill, kept safe for all this time behind ornate walls that my uncle had supposedly helped him construct. He showed little interest in meeting with me, but the other new arrivals seemed to respect his seniority. I made a mental note to seek him out once I had the chance, but for now, there was a new crisis that demanded my attention. While my focus had been turned towards the newfound growth at the edges of our community, the hamlet had begun to rot from within. The Crimson Curse had begun to spread at a truly alarming rate, due in no small part to my own policies. I had become an unwitting agent of pestilence, and several of my most loyal recruits had already paid a steep price for my mistakes. To their credit, even as the virus began eating away at their brains, the research team did their best to continue treating the other infected. Unfortunately, the ranks of the infected grew by the day, and it was becoming increasingly difficult to maintain an adequate supply of blood. There was no telling what would happen once we ran out, so something had to be done. It was impossible to read Rowan's expression when I reluctantly gave him one of the many invitations that I had received. He simply nodded, then hastily assembled a team that would approach the Baron on my behalf. He called upon Alistair, our resident expert in all things vampiric, as well as Karel von Gruenig, a representative from the Vestal Order that ran our sanitarium. Many of the other infected recruits were eager to join the expedition, but Rowan finally settled on the flagellant, Luzon, a self-proclaimed expert when it came to both blood and suffering. Some of the recruits, Alistair and Rowan chief among them, had been proposing that we investigate the mysterious Baron for quite some time now. Given that all of our attempts to develop a cure through more conventional means had failed, I had to agree. It was finally time to turn our attention towards the Baron.
They would arrive in teeming hordes, adorned in powdered wigs and pretension, seeking to slake their thirst on wine and indecency. As intoxication invariably took hold, innocuous frivolities would escalate to ever more disturbing diversions. Orchestrating the hideous affair was a hunchbacked fiend who seemed to delight in proportion to the suffering he caused. I could have stopped him, I suppose, but I was a slave to my own appetites, and restraint would have rendered me a hypocrite. What games does this diminutive fool play at now?
Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to episode 29. Today we're finally taking a long overdue look at the Baron's mansion. I've heard a lot of bad things about this quest, which is part of why I've been putting it off for so long, but at this point the infection back in the hamlet has gotten so bad I just can't keep ignoring it. Now, much like with the Fanatic, I've never actually done this before, so I'm deliberately going in blind. But if things end up taking too long, then I'll glance at a map, just to help speed things up. Anyway, let's take a look at our heroes. Alistair Gardwin. Luzon Nazzul. Rowan Church. Karel von Gruenig. Okay, let's get started. Like I said, I've tried to avoid spoilers for this mission, but I have heard a few things here and there. For example, I know that one of the most common complaints about the Crimson Curse DLC is that the new dungeons are just too big. I've also had several viewers warn me that it's going to take at least a few episodes to finish clearing this place out. Oh, and we've got our first fight. Nothing new here. A couple of supplicants and one servant. This is clearly just a warm-up fight. It's taking a bit longer than I expected to kill these guys. I guess I'm just not used to facing them in veteran dungeons. That's definitely going to take some getting used to.
The slow death. Unforeseen. Unforgiving. Press this advantage. Give them no quarter.
Thanks, Luzon. The friendly fire is starting earlier than usual. Okay, well, the servant's about to drop dead, so that gives us some time for healing.
Great is the weapon that cuts on its own.
Okay, that's one fight down. It was a bit more of an ordeal than I was expecting, but we got through it. Of course, I'm sure it only gets worse from here.
Mind that such missteps are the exception, and not the rule.
Whoa, that's new. Okay, this thing's got a pretty high protection and it's pretty resistant to blight. I guess that means we'll primarily have to hit it with stuns and bleeding attacks. Yeah, Rowan's only got a 40% chance of successfully blighting it. Well, it was worth a shot.
Obliterated.
Nice. At least we know how to take down the rest of these guys. Let's see if we can stun that thing. Of course not. Oof. That thing hits pretty hard. And it causes a lot of bleeding damage. Uh-oh. Okay, Carol's already in trouble. Thank goodness we brought a plague doctor with us.
A death by inches.
Okay, let's toss out some healing. Oh, Rowan needs blood. We'll get him some as soon as we're done here.
Slowly, gently. This is how a life is taken.
So, Chevaliers. That's something new to look forward to. Alright, let's keep moving. Well, we've got some choices here. Of course, I have no idea where we're going, so I'll just start taking left turns. Okay, this time we're up against a large carrion eater and a supplicant.
Masterfully executed.
Nice. Alistair doesn't crit often, but when he does, they really feel it.
Their formation is broken. Maintain the offensive. As victories mount, so too will resistance.
I have no doubt of that. Whoops. Okay, Rowan, please don't plunge your arm into stinging insect hives. Looks like another nice, easy fight. This shouldn't take too long. Come on, Alistair. Alright, Rowan's getting a bit beat up this time. We'll have to do something about that.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms.
These things are actually a lot more blight resistant than I remembered. I guess Rowan is better served on healing duty for now.
confidence surges as the enemy crumbles.
Come on, Luzon. You're really making this harder than it has to be.
Continue the onslaught. Destroy them all. A momentary abatement. This expedition at least promises success.
Well, that's another fight under our belt, but we're already starting to hurt here. Okay, let's see here. Pretty much everything we're running into is resistant to blight, so maybe we can swap out some of Rowan's moves to make him a little more useful. Oh, there we go. Let's switch him off to Incision. Alright, that should make things a little easier. Thank you, Carol. Please don't talk to cryptic strangers. Okay, I guess this is where they keep their extra skulls. Let's check a different direction. Oh, there's a chance to get Carol's stress under control. Oh, let's get Rowan and Carol some blood, too. I really need to pay more attention to that sort of thing. Alright, we've got another fight ahead of us, so let's see what we're in for this time. Oof. Okay. We're up against 2 Chevaliers this time, but at least we've got Surprise. Nice. Okay, we can either put Carol on healing or on crowd control. Or we can have her attack while healing herself. Well, that was a waste of time. Okay, let's get Carol back on healing. Both of the Chevaliers are still buffed from the first time I stunned them, so let's take out that servant instead. Okay, now we just have to deal with the tanks. And of course, they're going right after our primary healer. Alright, well, Carol can take care of herself, but we need to keep everyone else focused on taking these things down. First, let's get rid of that debuff. And now let's do some healing. It's not much, but it should keep her in the fight a little longer. Now Alistair's in trouble, but like I said before, we have to stay focused on offense. Oh, though we can do something about that bleeding.
Soothed. Sedated.
There goes the last of our bandages. That's not a good sign. Okay, the closer Chevalier's about to drop, so that means Alistair can heal himself. Alright, we've basically won the fight at this point, so let's stall a little so we can get some more healing in. Oh, wait. Okay, I must have misread that bleeding damage. Well, it's fine. Now we have a full turn to heal.
These nightmarish creatures can be felled. They can be beaten.
Whew, okay. That's another fight taken care of. We're actually doing okay here, but next time we definitely need to bring more armor piercers and bleeding damage. You know, The sad thing here is, we've barely even made it into this place. At least now we know the dungeon layout is symmetrical. If we run into a dead end on one side, we know to avoid it on the other. Oh, and there's another new enemy. The Courtesan. Well, it's definitely not as much of a nightmare as the Chevalier is. This thing actually looks pretty frail. I'm sure it's got some sort of nasty surprises for us. This is Darkest Dungeon. Let's see if we can take it out quick. Not bad.
Prodigious size alone does not dissuade the sharpened blade.
Well, that went, surprisingly smoothly. That's a nice change of pace. That's new too, but at least the solution seems obvious. I don't want to leave those heirlooms behind, but it's way too early to start dumping supplies. I guess we can get rid of the jade and... I suppose we don't really need 2 stacks of blood. Great. Another branching path. Alright, we'll head left.
Carelessness will find no clemency in this place.
At least it's an easy fight this time.
Struck.
Nicely done, Carol. The sycophant's about to drop, so might as well get in some healing while we can.
Foolish horrors, brought low and driven into the mud.
Getting a bit low on shovels, but I guess we can spare one more. Honestly, I know we've only made it a few rooms in, but I'm not really sure how much longer we can last in here. Of course, that's not to say we're going to give up. We'll keep going as long as we can. Alright, we're up against another Chevalier and some other miscellaneous vampires. Let's focus on clearing out the mooks first, then we can take out the Chevalier. Oh, actually, can I? No, she can't reach the Chevalier. Nice. Okay, we've been scattering our damage too much. We need to start taking these guys out. Nice, finally making progress. Okay, let's go for the stun. Nice. Alright, I think we've got this.
A trifling victory, but a victory nonetheless.
Okay, so I knew this was going to be a long dungeon going into this, but I have no idea how much more is ahead of us. We're already past the 30-minute mark, so let's take a bit of a break and we'll pick up here next time. See you then.